Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Arts Passport podcast. I am so excited for today's conversation. It is one where I'm going to urge you to stop what you're doing, take a minute, brew a cup of coffee, because this is not like a quick conversation. I think this one is really going to sit with people. It's going to be something you're going to want to digest, listen to parts over and over again. We are talking with Michele Smith, the executive director of the Tampa Arts Alliance. And we really talk about her journey as an arts administrator, going from growing up in Carrollwood to leading this organization and what it means for the community. So I really hope you get a lot out of this. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Please continue to follow, subscribe, share, hate mail, whatever you want to do for the Tampa Bay Arts Passport. We appreciate all the engagement, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Welcome back. Hello and welcome to Michele Smith. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming on today. This is the first time we're meeting in person. Although we've exchanged a good number of emails. And I just want to publicly give you some flowers because you and the Tampa Arts Alliance have been such big supporters and promoters of the Arts Passport. It means so much to me. So just thank you for the work you're doing to uplift us. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I think Arts Passport is a fantastic endeavor, and more eyes need to be on it and more support because it's really thoughtfully done, very well curated, very inclusive. You guys are just on the leading edge. I love it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But we're here to talk about you today. This is your moment, your time. I'm just so excited for you to come on because I don't think people always recognize arts administration in the way that it should be recognized, and all of the work behind the scenes that you do to foster and support this community. So I want to start with can you just give a background to someone that doesn't know, what is the work you do at the Tampa Arts Alliance?
Okay. Well, actually, up until about a month ago, I was the only staff person related to Tampa Arts Alliance. So it was pretty much everything from water the plants to make the coffee to have the development meetings to get fundraisers and benefactors, which is a lot aligned with my background in entrepreneurship. So I love that. I like being able to hop from different things and kind of exercise different parts of my brain. But yes, do you want to know a little history of how we formed?
Yeah, I would love to know. Yeah. Because I think a lot of people listening don't really know that. So yeah, give me the rundown.
Okay. From my perspective, how I got involved in this organization was in 2019, I was working for the Tampa Downtown Partnership in operations, and I ran the arts committee for downtown, and I loved it. And when I went to IDA, which was the International Downtown Association meeting in DC, I met a gentleman, Tim Tompkins. He ran Times Square for 20 some odd years, and he's so inspiring, and we just hit it off. And I was like, I want to do more for the arts in downtown. And so we kind of collaborated on this idea of an inventory, and it just lit me up. It changed my whole perspective. I just loved going into the office every day because it was the arts were just fueling me. And I had a previous many years involved in the arts in Tampa, but I had stepped away because it was just very siloed and kind of it was very hard to get momentum going. And then right after that, I went to Tampa Museum of Art, and Neil Gobioff and Bill Carlson had hosted an arts roundtable for artists. And I was like, ooh, I think something may have changed in Tampa. There were so many artists there, and the vibe was just so energetic and people eager to talk about the arts and from an artist perspective and arts organizations. And I was like, oh, I want more of this, right? So that was my little wish, but I had no idea how to get there because I had not met either one of them.
Okay.
And I was just like, okay, that's just what I want. So 2020 comes, dun, dun, dun.
The year we all thrived and had amazing things happen to us.
Well, and it was really, the arts were the very first thing impacted. Sure. So March 13th, all the arts in downtown just shut down. They were the very first. The STRAS, the TMA. There were 19 arts anchor institutions along Yellow Brick Row, which is in North Franklin Boulevard, alone. And some of them never reopened their doors again. However, the arts were what were sustaining people through the pandemic. Everybody wanted to get online and sing or beat their pots together.
Sure, yeah.
Or have a drum circle on the beach, you know, and or paint or take up a new hobby or sourdough or something. It was just like we all returned to this extremely kind of creative place.
Yeah.
And I remember reaching out on Facebook. I reached out to Bill Carlson through DMs. I was like, you don't know me, but the arts are suffering in downtown and we really need some help. What do you think? Like, how can we rally more support with the artists? And he's like, well, you should meet my partner in thought with Neil Gobioff. And so he connected us. And then we started kind of thinking about the arts and putting more organization around that. And we started Zoom meetings during the pandemic. We were still all in lockdown, and then it just kept growing to some really great thought leaders and just an amazing what would become our board. And they said, well, will you do this? And I'm like,
You're like,
sure.
Me?
Yeah. And honestly, okay, prior to that, though, I'd actually given my notice at my job because I was so thrilled by what I was doing with the arts. I just realized that somehow I had to force myself to let go of the comfort of the known and jump into this. And then they're like, oh, you are going to do this. I'm like, yes.
This is a real thing. It's happening.
We got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And so it's just been a hustle ever since.
Oh my gosh. I guess so I didn't understand the full story. Like, you carved your own space. You carved the space for the Alliance. This was not a thing that was handed to you, which I think takes so much work. Like, it's so much work, especially when you see a need and there's not something filling it already. To create that from scratch is monumental.
You know what this is like.
Yes, literally.
You literally know.
Yes.
My very first year in the Alliance, I had 140 meetings.
Oh my gosh.
And mind you, we hadn't started fundraising yet.
Yeah.
It was just to get to know intricately the lay of the land and where people were, where the needs were, and where we fit in, because it doesn't work to be like, have these grand ideas and try to top down it and be like, we're this and we're that. Like, we had to get to know everybody and build relationships, and that takes time. And so I definitely, for the first couple of years, relied on my own resources to, you know, help support that effort and invested a lot into getting this going.
Wow. I always, like, one of my mantras that I think about is like, arts should be in relationship with our region, right? And so, like, really making sure we are having the conversations. What do we actually need? And that's what we try and do at the Arts Passport, is like, what can we really do for the community? And kind of similar to what you were doing with all of those meetings of what truly could you do. That's so incredible. Okay, we could talk about a million different things.
I know.
But the thing that's like burning in my brain right now, because this is so interesting to me, is like, and I would love your perspective on it. Tampa is a very built up city. It is not a small city by any stretch of the imagination. It's not been a small city for decades now, you know. So how did it go so long without an Arts Alliance, or without something that was working in tandem with the community and the local government to support artists? It's just wild to my brain that, like, this was only started in the last 5 years.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I'm from DC and my family's all from the DC metro area. So I still, when I moved down in the late 80s and I grew up here in the 90s, I still think of Tampa as this little small town. So I forget, and I remember every time I need to go pay for parking or I get stuck in traffic, I'm like,
that we don't live in a small town.
We're a big city now. But I still forget that we are really quite, our infrastructure is growing. But I do think in the past 5 to 8 years, there's been a tremendous boom in development. So the systems we had that have been nurturing the art scene in different spaces for a while needed to grow. And then during pandemic, a lot of them really had challenging, you know, times. So they didn't have the opportunity to grow as quickly or differently as they needed to. So I don't think that there was ever, I think what we're trying to do is different in the sense that it's kind of uniting force between the municipalities, the civic, the business community, and the arts community. I think that we're new in that kind of perspective. But Tampa has had for a long time, really committed arts leaders, that have been nurturing the scene in different areas. So sometimes you have visual arts kind of collectives, you have theater collectives. We have a tremendous theater scene, as you know, like amazing community here. We were once, I don't know if we still are, the metal capital of the world.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh, like metal.
Yes. So like we have all these like little niche markets. And so it's a gargantuan task. And I don't even know if one organization could do it. Like we can't do what we do without the collaborative partners that we have of people who've been really committed to this for a while. That's the only way that we succeed, is if we're in it together, because it's just impossible for one organization to be like, we're the ones. It's like, I'm on the board of the Arts Council, Hillsborough County Arts Council, and that's been really fascinating to learn what they do with their grants programs and how those programs seed a lot of movement forward at a grassroots level and for artists and for special events. So like, Hillsborough County has supported in the GFA, GMF, these festivals that have actually been breeding grounds and incubators for talent. So that's one outlet. We've got smaller collectives that have been nurturing the scene in different ways. We've got businesses. Symphonic Distribution is a major music distribution company that was founded in Tampa. And what they nurture in the local music scene and beyond is phenomenal. So it's just kind of like connecting those dots and then letting the world see it. Because when you see it collectively, you're like, oh, man, there's a lot going on here.
So much going on. That's what I think sometimes people forget, is like this community is thriving in ways that I don't think you totally expect, because you're like, oh, it's Tampa, we're in Florida, beaches and Bucks games,
Right.
But then you pull back the cover a little bit and you're like, oh, there's theaters everywhere, and there's visual artists who are doing incredible things, and there's a thriving underground music scene with people like Doechii coming out of Tampa, who was so just amazing. Back, and I love her so much. What do you say to folks when their first reaction is like, arts in Tampa? Like, that's not a thing, is it?
Well, it's kind of funny because, for the 90s and the 2000s, Tampa was the punchline on 30 Rock or, other, it was always like, oh, I'm so-and-so from Tampa. And it was like, like the joke. And even from my half-brother grew up in DC, and then he went into the music business and did very well out in LA. And he would always joke, oh, you're still in Tampa. And for the longest time, I carried that around with me. It was kind of like this little secret, like, I live in Tampa. Especially since my background's in international business and I've been involved in the international art scene. I've never really, I used to always kind of like whisper that.
Yeah.
But I think what's really cool is there's a momentum shift in our city where people are really starting to feel ownership.
100%.
And it's because of the fact that we're paying attention to who we actually are instead of trying to be the next. There have been so many campaigns over the years to be the next London, to be the next Paris, to be the next Austin or San Antonio. And it never works. Yeah. Next New Orleans. Like, that's not who we are. Yeah. We are Tampa. And the more we lean into that and like quit whispering it, I think it's really fascinating to see the pride that's coming forth.
Yeah.
And the very unique expressions that are beginning to develop.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is something magical about the Tampa Bay region. Like, there's just something so different here. And when you come, you experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not the next New Orleans. It's not the next Atlanta. It is its own thing, for sure.
And I think St. Pete did a really good job of modeling that, because it used to be like considered God's waiting room, and the movie Cocoon, that was like before our times. Yes. Remember that? Yeah. It was like, that was always the idea of St. Pete, a shuffleboard place where you just kind of go to wait out your years, whatever. And I think people just kind of ignored that. Yeah. And then they just were like, it's affordable and it's beautiful. And we can like build this, we can own this little space, and we can turn this into a gallery. We can turn this into, and they just have really done a great job just kind of like creating their own path in their own identity. Yep. And the result is just very lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a conversation not too long ago with John Collins, who started St. Pete Arts
He
Alliance.
helped us.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember asking him, I was like, where did this term, like, City of the Arts that St. Pete's really adopted come from? And he was like, I just made it up one day. He was like, I just figured if we start calling ourselves the City of the Arts, we'll be it. And he was like, it worked. Like, we just adopted this idea that we are a city of artists, and now that's what we're known as. So totally, sometimes we just have to proclaim it, speak it into existence, own it, and then it builds momentum from there.
Yeah, and he was very very meaningful to us when we got started. He helped us with our bylaws and consulting and input, and just being like, okay, just very generously,
Yeah,
this is what you need to
he's a
consider.
Right guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned your past in international business, and I wanted to talk about that because when I was like reviewing information about you, I thought it was so interesting that you used to do silk trading.
Yes.
And you like worked in the trade industry in Tampa before so just like walk me through what that part of your life was like and then how it led into what you're doing now.
Oh, it's a long story. I'll try to be concise because I'm all over the board. I'm very ADD, and I'm like, it expresses all over my life, but it works. So, and during college, I was an adult student for self-paying students. So I started HCC, Go Hawks, and I was there for like 6 years. And I started out in dental, and I realized I thought it was kind of gross. Like I loved science so much, but that's a long story. So anyway, I just started exploring the arts, dance and music and theater, and I just loved it. So in '99, I started the very first e-zine in Tampa, and on like the internet was like a new thing. I'm so dating myself right now. And it was called Wired in Tampa Bay, and it really focused on the local art scene, primarily in music, especially in Ybor. And it was so much fun. I just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And then, I worked at Spaghetti Warehouse. I was a server. I just really enjoyed like being an artist and just exploring. But then I needed to start making money at one point.
As we all need to eventually.
As we all do. And so I started consulting, and I went to work for this really lovely woman, Sofia Fontesha Cano. I just mentioned her because she's pretty amazing, and she passed away last summer, I believe. But she was very instrumental into shaping my trajectory because she appreciated the arts. But we had this property in Honduras at the base of the Metatone Mountains in the rainforest, and she wanted to create Honduras's very first American-style community.
Wow!
Because in Honduras, like up until that point, you had homes with a compound around it, usually guarded, fenced. You had no sense of like riding your bicycle around your neighborhood, any of that.
Yeah.
So we built that community, Paseo Las Fuentes, and it was a very, very cool adventure. But she said to me, if you want to be my business manager, you need to finish your degree. So I went to University of Tampa. Yay, go Spartans, love them. Love you, Tampa. And studied international business, still continuing on with the fine art, co-theme, but it just made sense since I was already working in international business. And prior to that, I had worked in the silk trade. I was importing silk from Bangalore. That was a whole nother story for another time. It was so much fun. But yeah, the first importers of silk coming right in through the port, major imports, over $1 million worth of silk a year. And that was at, actually we had the lowest prices. So market rate right now would probably be around $6 million a year. Wow. And so anyway, working with Sophia and her insistence on getting my education completed, she actually wanted me to go all the way to like PhD, but I was like, no, I can't do that. But it was just like, it was really fascinating. And I love business. I'm a nerd. I love Excel spreadsheets and all of that. And so that's what I dove into. And at the same time, I started Artist Network of Tampa Bay, which was an online database of artists throughout the whole region. And I got a little bit frustrated because it was like everybody was in this kind of silo. Like nobody was working together. And it was very like I was putting all my resources into building this thing. And it was like it just wasn't catching on. And then in 2006, I met this artist. He was in residency at Ringling. His name's Edward Povey, and he's a British artist, and we really hit it off. And so I ended up going to Wales and like doing a residency with him in his studio, and we created this whole program called Business in the Art. And it went over so well in Wales. Like, it was a big hit. And so we're like, okay, let's bring it back to Tampa. And he came back and we had everything scheduled, and it was like crickets. And I was like, what? I was so disappointed, because I was just like, I felt like I was like really wanting Tampa to move forward and like with the arts. And so I was just like, okay, I'm done. And so then I went into oil and gas.
A natural pivot.
It was bizarre. I actually I worked for a company called Bureau Veritas, and they were like a 250-year-old company. They're actually mentioned in the book Moby Dick. Oh. They're like super old French company. And I started in real estate due diligence there. So like all the due diligence you do for real estate projects, phase 1, phase 2, soil contamination, all that stuff I used to sell. But then that was right around the Great Recession, and nobody was doing real estate deals. So I pivoted into oil and gas to like survive. And we started doing occupational health and safety. So we did, like, I managed the BP oil spill, the logistics for the cleanup. That was intense.
Wow. Yeah.
It was really intense. We deployed 140 safety professionals all throughout the Gulf, all throughout like these little Creole towns like Foshan and Kukudri and Metairie, like these really cool places along the Gulf, and for the cleanup effort. But it was a 24/7 job. It was incredibly stressful. And oil and gas is an interesting industry. It's intense.
And then how did that lead you back? Was that you mentioned you quit a job because you were like, I'm just ready to do Arts Alliance. Was that the job you quit, or?
No. Okay. I'll try to speed it up, because it's okay. It's a long story and it's all over the place. So I was in oil and gas, and I was running the logistics. I got a call from my brother, who I mentioned was out in LA, just doing great things, the movie and music business out there. And he called to say that he had been having headaches and he needed to go for surgery, and just wanted to keep me updated. And come to find out, he had a stage 4 glioblastoma.
Oh,
so I was like, and this was in the middle of the oil spill, which I was managing logistics for. It was extremely high profile, extremely stressful. Yeah. And I was torn between this feeling of like needing to go be with him and then trying to figure out what to do with work. And it just started putting work in a very different perspective. Yeah. And so for the next year, thankfully my boss at the time just didn't really care where I was as long as I got my work done.
Love.
So I had 42 flights that year.
Oh my gosh.
Between my work along the Gulf and going to LA to be with him. Wow. And it completely shifted my trajectory. I got to experience, like, he had such a love for the arts and his groove, that he just went for it. And I was like, man, I never did that. I never allowed myself to do that, you know? And then also the complexity of being 42 and having this terminal thing and just seeing what matters and what doesn't matter. It just completely shifted my whole value system. Yeah. So when he passed a year later, I was like done. I'm like, I don't want to be in this industry anymore. So I became a yoga teacher.
Okay.
We're almost there. I promise. And I taught yoga for 6 years. Wow. And really enjoyed that. Was extremely broke. And then I worked for the Downtown Partnership. Okay. Because I needed to like refurbish my house. And that was the job. I was there for 4 years, and they were a credible organization. But all of this actually worked to get me to where I am. And I feel like it's a very weird, perfect alignment for all of these little random pieces, because I feel like it aligns with me heart-wise as far as like value system. You know, I didn't feel very fulfilled in previous lines of work. Like I was really contributing to humanity. Not that you have to with your job, but I needed that. Yeah. And then there's also, I get some of the business exposure too, because I have to work a lot with the municipal departments and with developers, and I get to get that kind of fix as well, looking at spreadsheets and, you know, nerding out on numbers. So,
Oh my gosh.
it's such a long story. I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize, because I think your story is such a good reminder of like it is a journey. The journey doesn't go from A to B. It's like A to B to C to D to E F to, and each one of those steps informs the next and builds on the next to the point where you finally get to that finish line.
And there can be lots of failures.
100%.
If you're really going out there and following your gut, you're going to fail. You're going to lose money. You're going to, there's all sorts of things, challenges, loss, grief. I mean, there's just, I believe in using all of it as fuel.
Yeah. Well, and I think, speaking from the eye, we live in such a weird time where we see manufactured like overnight success on social media, right? We see these people that we think like, oh, they just became instantly millionaire celebrities, and that's not sustainable. That's not long term. And sometimes you have to remember that like it is showing up consistently, putting in year after year after year to build what you really want to in life. And I think we both know that journey really well, and I think your story will resonate with so many people. So I know it was long, but thank you for sharing it. I really appreciate it.
Well, you just brought up a really good point about social media. It's so easy to fake an entire life.
A whole life.
And I think that's very indicative of everything in the world right now.
Yes.
With technology. It can be a great opportunity in a lot of ways if you can leverage it properly, but it's very easy to forget who you are and the reality of situations. So it's tricky.
I think it's why we long that in-person authentic connection right now, right? Because we've done 2020 on for so many years of just living in this virtual space, and I think we lost that ability to really connect with each other and connect over sadness at times and connect over grief at times. And I think that's just as valuable as looking at someone that looks like all their lives together, right? Like we need that real connection with one another.
And I think it really takes concerted effort, because even I notice myself like having to force myself to get that. It's so easy to get that dopamine hit on social media and feel like you're connected to other people, but it's not the same as actually being with them. And it's so, I mean, I don't know if it's like, what do they call it? When there's like a play going on, if it's real or not, but it's just like the world we live in is so surreal.
Yes.
And it's kind of hard to like know which way is up or down.
Totally.
But I think the arts are a really wonderful tool for grounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're running out of time, but I feel like there's a huge thing we haven't talked about. 2025 was such a big year for the Arts Alliance. You have secured a brand new space.
Yes. 26 years in the making.
Wow.
Right? Going back to that dot. 26 years in the making. This feels like the confluence of that. So grateful to Farley White Interests. They're a company in Boston, and they own the Fifth Third Tower. And while I was at the Downtown Partnership, I also led the Arts Committee, but I also led the Property Managers Roundtable. So the 14 towers that were there at the time, we'd convene every other month and talk about what was happening in the buildings and on the streets and kind of create a plan, for downtown. One of the managers of the building, I just always appreciated him, Tom. And when I heard that they had this first floor space, they're trying to figure out what to do with it, I was like, oh, I know Tom, he's fantastic. Let me reach out. And they have been really, really lovely and supportive. They have not ever worked with the Alliance before. They are having a huge trust and the kind of benefit amenity that we're going to be offering the community, and they want to get behind that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Does this feel like, I mean, it's silly to ask, like, does this feel like a big moment, but does this feel like a shift in momentum for the Alliance? And any, like, just what does this mean moving forward to have this space?
Up until now, we have really existed to get to know the scene and then to promote the scene and everybody else's work. So much of our focus has been on just getting more eyes on what was here. And thankfully one of our partners, Visit Tampa Bay, they are very proactive and have been about the arts for a long time. And so we've been working more and more with them, getting the word out, and they are just taking it and running with it. And we joined them for the London Art Fair last January, and were able to have they graciously gave us time with international press so we could talk about, our arts directory and over 200 cultural and art spaces here in Tampa to visit, and the scene and how much we have going on here. And it's like, wow, that's so much. And to have a physical space dedicated to that now, to that specific, and we're right around the corner from Visit Tampa Bay. We'll continue to work with them. They have an amazing visitor center. And then we're right amongst our partners at Tampa Downtown Partnership and, the Chamber of Commerce. We're right next door to City Hall. We're right down the street from the County Commission to keep building these relationships with our elected officials. And to actually, it's been very fun to meet with an election official and say, let's walk over to our space so you can see it. Like, that has been so grounding for them. A lot are very involved anyway in the community. They know what's happening, but it's like something new and exciting for the local artists and the grassroots scene.
I don't think people always understand the importance of walking someone through a door, right?
Yeah.
And physically saying, we exist and we're here and we're doing work in the community. Like, it takes on more weight when you're physically in person sometimes. Yeah. And it's weird because we live in a digital age. We live in a virtual space a lot. But that's such a fantastic moment for you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what you do with the space.
Thank you.
How it impacts the community. So I know it took years of work. I know it took a lot of long and hard conversations, I'm sure. So just congratulations, and to all the supporters that helped you.
Thank you.
From the Arts Passport, thank you for helping the community in that way.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to building the foundation for the next 25 years. And all the leaders that are engaged now are going to take it and go even further. We have a new curator who's amazing. She's going to take it and run with it. So thank you for everything you're doing.
All right. Rapid fire questions to wrap up. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Question 1. What does artistic community mean to you?
Creativity, connection, humanity. Humanity.
Humanity is a good word to use.
Yeah.
Okay. In one word, and then you can explain your word if you need. What is your hope for the arts in Tampa Bay?
Joy.
I don't even think that needs an explanation. I think it was so funny. In our last podcast, we had John Perez on, who was just talking about joy feels like an act of resilience right now. And the ability to laugh and find joy in the world we're living in is something we all need more of. I love it. Okay. And then lastly, if you could have dinner with any artist, living or deceased, who would it be?
Okay, so Edward Povey, who I mentioned from 20 years ago, I actually got to, because that was my wish. We haven't seen each other in over 20 years, and I went into an artist residency at the beginning of October with him and several other artists, Henry Udallin and these really cool artists from all over the world. And we had a residency, and I got to have 7 dinners with them, and
oh my gosh,
it was amazing. I'm still writing from that, so that was my wish.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I so appreciate it. I love the work that the Tampa Arts Alliance is doing. I am always going to be an advocate and a supporter of yours. I appreciate all the support you've given me, and I really hope everyone follows you, tunes in, and just finds the way to connect with the Arts Alliance and in the way that makes sense for them, if that makes sense of what I'm trying to say. But
it does. And start virtually with tampaartsalliance.org. And then reach out to us, and then we'll have in person. I can't wait to see everyone.
I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I just want to give a huge thank you to Michele for coming on today. I personally feel filled and rejuvenated from this conversation, and I hope you have some of the same feelings. I urge you, as Michele said, follow the Arts Alliance, see what they are doing as they grow more and more into their physical space. Start the journey now with their virtual presence, because as they continue to grow and expand, it will grow this whole community. So I wanted to thank Michele for coming on today. I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. Please continue to like, follow, subscribe. Arts Passport is coming up on our 7-month anniversary. I don't know how time works. Maybe you know how time works. I don't know what's going on. So thank you for your support as we go into 2026. Please continue to follow so you can learn more information about our Arts Passport nights at local organizations, our book clubs, and our continued support and advocacy for the community. All right, have a great day or night whatever time you're listening to this.